Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's also one of his key advisers, has been appearing before a special Senate committee. He released his opening statement denying any wrongdoing or collusion with Russian government officials during the presidential election campaign. The meeting is behind closed doors, but we can speak to our North America editor, John Sopel, who's at the White House for us. And John, how significant a moment is this in the ongoing questions over links between the Trump team and Russia?
Rita, I think it's very significant indeed, because this is the most senior person in the Trump entourage who finds himself in the crosshairs of this sprawling Russia investigation. Now, Jared Kushner is someone who has stayed in the shadows for the most part. He's only appeared on camera once, but you can see the scene behind me. Huge numbers of reporters gathered. Jared Kushner is about to come out and give some statement on the hearing. We know what he said beforehand. He said, "I did not collude nor know of anyone else in the campaign who colluded with any foreign government. With respect to my contacts with Russia or Russian representatives, there were hardly any." And of that meeting that was organised by Donald Trump Jr. With Russian officials, he said that was time not well spent. So the committee will want to have asked him, well, what were the nature of the meetings that you had, and why, if they were so insignificant and so fleeting, weren't you more transparent about them? Now, Donald Trump, as you might expect, has been on Twitter again today saying, why aren't the committees and investigators and, of course, our beleaguered Attorney General looking into crooked Hillary's crimes and Russian relations? Donald Trump has been absolutely consistent throughout. This whole thing is fake news and utterly phony. The American phrase is that it's a nothing burger. But it's a nothing burger which seems, with each few weeks, to get more and more substance.
John, thank you.
Donald Trump's son-in-law has denied there was any improper conduct when he met Russian officials. In a statement, Jared Kushner confirmed there were 4 meetings, but said there was no collusion over the US election campaign. He's been questioned by US senators today. Emma Murphy is in Washington for us. Emma.
Well, for 2 hours, Jared Kushner gave evidence to the Intelligence Committee, being asked about his relations with Russia. He was very clear in a statement before and after. He said, "I did not collude with Russia. I do not know anybody who did. I didn't rely on any Russian funds for my private businesses. And I am absolutely transparent in my belief that we have been honest and straightforward about that." Now, of course, this all relates to the allegations of Russian meddling in the US election last year. And he had a lot to say on that and about what that meant for those who voted for the president.
Donald Trump had a better message and ran a smarter campaign, and that is why he won. Suggesting otherwise ridicules those who voted for him.
So Jared Kushner will be back giving evidence tomorrow. This is far from the end of it. Tomorrow he'll be speaking to congressmen and women, not the American equivalent of the civil servants as he has done today. But there's no doubt that that message will keep coming from the Trump administration, that we did not collude and do not know of anybody who did.
Okay, Emma, thank you.
Now, all of my actions were proper. I did not collude with Russia, nor do I know of anyone else in the campaign who did so, Jared Kushner has declared in a rare public statement at the White House within the last hour. Mr. Kushner, who's one of Donald Trump's closest advisers, as well as his son-in-law, insisted he had nothing to hide, as our foreign affairs correspondent Jonathan Rugman reports from Washington.
Amid the sunny formality of Capitol Hill, it's easy to forget the enormity of the allegation.
Mr. Kushner, was it appropriate for you to meet with the Russian officials?
Or the indignity of having to refute it. The president's own son-in-law here to deny colluding with the Russians to rig last year's election.
Mr. Kushner, do you regret going to the Trump Tower meeting with Don Jr.?
Was that meeting a mistake with the Russian attorney?
Should you have been more cautious, sir?
Jared Kushner this morning meeting congressional investigators, not senators themselves, but this their first opportunity, though not ours, to hear from Mr. Trump's most trusted innermost circle. The appearance lasted over 2 hours behind this closed door.
Here I come.
But this afternoon, with the White House as a deliberate and rather more dignified backdrop, Mr. Kushner gave his first ever public comments on the scandal.
Let me be very clear. I did not collude with Russia, nor do I know of anyone else in the campaign who did so. I had no improper contacts. I have not relied on Russian funds for my businesses. Donald Trump had a better message and ran a smarter campaign, and that is why he won. Suggesting otherwise ridicules those who voted for him.
Kushner says there were 4 meetings with Russians, including one with the Russian ambassador at Trump Tower, and one arranged by Donald Trump Jr. in the same location last summer. Kushner claimed he didn't know this meeting was intended to gather dirt on Hillary Clinton, that he arrived late, that it was a waste of time, that he left it early, which of course puts the focus of the investigation back on the president's eldest son himself. On Saturday, a presidential tweet suggested Trump might be thinking of pardoning any wrongdoing. While all agree the US president has the complete power to pardon, he wrote, why think of that when only crime so far is leaks against us, fake news.
Who's he thinking about pardoning?
Or why is he tweeting about pardons?
Why even talk about pardons?
But Mr. Trump's advisors claim that tweet has been misconstrued.
We have not and continue to not have conversations with the President of the United States regarding pardons. Pardons have not been discussed, and pardons are not on the table.
This morning, the press were unexpectedly called in to see the president posing for pictures with White House interns. It unfortunately recalled another presidential scandal, one which led to impeachment.
President Jeff Sessions resigned.
And when a reporter asked questions, Mr. Trump looked and sounded besieged and annoyed.
They're not supposed to do that, but they do it. But they're not supposed to. So she's breaking a code. They don't care about breaking codes. Thank you all. You're great. Thank you.
Well, Jared Kushner's appearance in front of the White House was brief and succinct, and the fact that it happened at all is probably down to the newfound influence of Anthony Scaramucci, the new White House communications director, who was appointed at the end of last week. But Mr. Scaramucci has not stopped his boss, Donald Trump, from tweeting. And today's target was his own Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. Mr. Trump described him as beleaguered. Mr. Trump has said that he is angry and would not have appointed Mr. Sessions if he had known that Mr. Sessions would recuse himself from investigations into the Trump campaign's alleged links with the Russians. Mr. Sessions says he will stay in his job as Attorney General as long as is appropriate. But you do wonder whether the Attorney General will be the next senior figure to leave his job.
The soap opera continues. Jonathan, thank you very much.